Hey guys, so I want to talk about how to assign paragon points in Season 29 in order to maximize damage and survivability. So starting with the easiest case, which is when we only assign crit chance and crit damage in our offense tab. So the idea here is to define this crit damage multiplier function, which tells me the total damage multiplier from crit. And this is defined in terms of C naught and D naughts, which are the base crit chance and crit damage values, like from gear and C and D, which are the values you get from Paragon. So in season 29, of course, we're limited to 200 points in our offense tab. And if we split this up between crit chance and crit damage, that gives us this constraint function G right here. So our job is to maximize our damage from crit, D, subject to this constraint. And the way to do this is by using Lagrange multipliers, which is the standard way to optimize a multidimensional function subject to constraints. And this involves solving a system of equations right here. So we're going to solve for C and D here, which tells us the how many pair points to assign to crit chance and crit damage in order to optimize D. So jumping over to Mathematica, I've basically written up the code that solves that system of equations. So you can see here that I've defined C naught and D naught as our base crit values. These are coming from the wizard that I have on season, which I'll be showing a bit later. So if you actually solve for C and D and then convert those values back into paragon points, then you see that for this example, you want to assign most of the points to crit damage actually. And this is because um, my crit damage value is actually um, less than 10 times my crit chance value. So it's kind of a, in fact, the optimal ratio is 1 to 10 between these two. So jumping in game, I have my wizard right here, who is very unoptimized, probably because I started solo self-founds. So the crit chance and crit damage values right here are pretty low, and they match the base values that I've assigned in Mathematica. So if we go ahead and um, divvy up our offense tab evenly between crit chance and crit damage, so 100 each, then you see that my sheet damage is about 3 million, so 3 million and 2,000. On the other hand, if we assign our points according to the solution of the Lagrange system, so if we just round this up to 17 and that's down, then you can clearly see that my sheet damage actually went up. On the other hand, if we overshoot the estimates and we assign all of our points into crit damage, then you can also see that my sheet actually went down a little bit. So this just goes to show that we've achieved our maximum sheet damage somewhere between a crit damage assigned of 200 and 100. And in fact, the optimal value is given by this value right here. So you can actually play around with the base value right here. For instance, if I crank up the base crit damage to 5.78, then you can see that now more of the points should be assigned to crit chance to make up for the lower value of the crit chance relative to the crit damage. And so this concludes this part of the talk. So next time I'm hoping to talk about defense, in particular, choosing between life percent and all versus